Chapter 22, When the Shadow Took Form. The First Stand. Malphas' form towered over them, half shadow, half smoke, his body shifting like flames trapped inside darkness. His presence pressed against the alley walls like gravity. Luis whispered, "I thought he'd look smaller." Marcus tightened his stance. "We trained for this. Stay tight. Don't break formation." Jasmine opened her scripture app, the glowing verses forming a barrier around them. Pastor Elijah stepped forward just enough to plant his feet. Isaiah chapter 54 verse 17, he said aloud. "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." A ripple of power hummed through them. Malphas paused. He noticed it. He didn't like it. The rush to the gate. Pastor Elijah rushed around the corner as the glowing breach pulsed higher into the sky. "That's not a gateway anymore. It's a conduit. If Malphas stabilizes it, the city is exposed," Marcus finished. Pastor Elijah's hands tightened, knuckles white. "Then we shut it down with scripture and prayer." With no hesitation, the squad sprinted toward the alley, spiritual armor ready. The demon's disappointment. Malphas' shadow expanded, swallowing light. "You," he growled. "You are the ones troubling my works. You are the ones disrupting my footholds." He leaned low, his face inches from David. "You are children." David didn't flinch. "Maybe. But we know something." Malphas raised a brow made of smoke. "And what is that?" David held up his Bible. "That the name, Jesus Christ, the name that we fight under, is bigger than you." For the briefest moment, a flicker of something crossed Malphas' eyes. Recognition. Irritation. Memory. Because he knew that name. The air crackled. The breach widened. The squad stood firm. And Malphas raised both arms. Dark matter swirled, taking shape around him, skeletal wing structures, flaming veins under shadow, eyes blooming across his torso like embers. He wasn't fully manifesting. Yet he wasn't holding back either. Jasmine whispered to her brothers and sisters in spiritual arms, "Whatever happens, do not let your scripture break." Pastor Elijah shouted from behind them, "Young ones, hold the line." Malphas roared, a sound that shattered two streetlights and sent rats scattering for blocks. Then, the demon lunged. Straight at them. Chapter 23, The Breach of Voices. The collision. Malphas hit like a collapsing building. Shadows crashed forward in a tidal wave, rattling trash cans, buckling the brick walls, and knocking the teens back several feet. Jasmine slid across the pavement. Pastor Elijah planted himself, feet spread, hands trembling but raised. Psalm chapter 18, he started. But Malphas' voice drowned him out. "You dare speak his words in my presence." His roar cracked the asphalt. Kiara controlled her breathing and sang, "Just a little talk with Jesus," forming a dome over them. "It's working," Deshaun shouted. But cracks raced across her verses as Malphas pressed harder. Marcus leapt forward, striking the demon's shadowy arm. "Back up off them." The hit landed, barely, sparking light. Malphas turned his massive head toward him. "You irritate me most of all." The watcher BJ Mayfield, the counterword. Then, in the blink of an eye, the watcher, BJ Mayfield, stepped between the demon and the teens, not with speed but with certainty. His penlight burned with slow, steady brilliance. "Malphas," he said, voice calm. "You know the rules." The demon hissed. "You are out of your depth, watcher. These are not your battles anymore." BJ didn't argue. He simply lifted his hand and opened his Bible. The Bible squad is stunned, they have no idea who this is. But Pastor Elijah knew. He whispered, "The watcher." "One word," BJ said. "That's all it takes." Malphas snarled. "A word from you means nothing." BJ exhaled. "You know Malphas, I wasn't supposed to directly be in this story, but God saw and commanded otherwise. It's not my word, it's his." He spoke softly, almost too softly to hear, "The Lord rebuke you." Malphas recoiled like he'd been struck with a hammer. Not defeated. Not driven back entirely. But shaken. And everyone saw it. The second line. Deshaun arrived first, quoting the scriptures. The ground vibrated as scripture runes ignited around him. Squad. Don't falter. They naturally fell into formation. Jasmine, armor of prayer blazing. Marcus, faith shield expanded. David, scripture flames in his palms. Luis, breathless but resolute. Kiara, eyes glowing with intercession. They didn't attack Malphas, they forming a wall. A spiritual bulwark. Pastor Elijah shouted. Hold your verses. Bible squad, support the breach. Together, the group's voices rose. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. Malphas staggered, not defeated, but visibly enraged. The shift. Smoke coiled around the demon, forming sharper lines, horns, claws, a skeletal jaw. You think numbers will save you? His voice warped the air like heat. You think scripture will hold against a dominion bearer of the old world? Shadows burst outward in a vortex. Kiara's dome shattered. Marcus's shield flickered. Pastor Elijah nearly dropped his Bible. David and Luis both skidded back, thrown off balance. Malphas reached toward the breach in the sky, the unstable gate pulsing with eldritch blue. Then watch, he hissed, as I bring the rest of my legion through. The breach began to widen uncontrollably. Wind roared. Shadows spiraled. The sky cracked like glass. Malphas lifted both arms, and the first shape began to descend through the breach. Not a shadow. Not smoke. A form with wings of knives and a mouth made of fire. The squad felt terror claw their ribs. BJ's face paled. Pastor Elijah whispered, Lord. A full manifestation. We are not ready. Malphas' laughter shook the alley. The decision. The breach pulsed, shrieked, and expanded. The emerging demonling screeched, half-formed, its claws scraping the edges of reality. Malphas spread his wings wide. Behold the first of many. BJ whispered to the teens, Bible squad. Right now, it's not about beating him. Jasmine swallowed hard. Then what is it about? BJ's grip tightened on his penlight. Stopping that thing from getting through. David shouted, How? Pastor Elijah answered, by closing the gate before chapter 25. Chicago falls. And right at that moment, the demonling's claw broke through the breach. Chapter 24, the gate of shattering. The pushback. The demonling's claw tore through the breach, dripping blue fire that hissed when it hit the Chicago pavement. Marcus braced his shield, already cracked from Malphas' earlier assault. Pastor Elijah. Verse. Now. Elijah forced his shaking voice to rise. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, the righteous run into it and are safe. His words hit the demonling like a sonic blast, making its half-formed head jerk sideways. But it wasn't enough. The breach widened another 6 inches. The sky screamed. Jasmine's scripture app flickered red at the edges. That thing's stabilizing the gate from the inside. We have like 90 seconds. David raised his hands. Then we break it before it breaks us. But when they advanced, Malphas shifted, massive wings blocking the way. You children, he growled, still think you have a choice. The watcher BJ Mayfield, the counterclockwise word. BJ stepped forward, eyes lifting toward the breach. The falling blue light reflected in his glasses. Bible squad, he said softly. Step back. He raised his penlight, but this time, it didn't glow white. It glowed gold. A faint, trembling gold. BJ whispered a phrase that they had never heard anyone say, let the ancient boundary hold. Malphas froze. You wouldn't dare. BJ answered with a smile of peace that terrified Malphas to his core. Yes, I would. He traced a slow circle in the air, backwards, counterclockwise. Reality shivered. Wind whipped. The breach pulsed as if struck from behind. Jasmine gasped. He's trying to reverse the tear, he's literally rewinding the breach structure. Kiara blinked. He can do that. BJ didn't turn. His voice was grim. Only once. The ring of standards. Pastor Elijah, Bible squad, form the standard now. They moved instantly. Jasmine lifted her hands, summoning the mantle of intercession. Marcus expanded his shield of faith, standing beside Elijah and Luis. Kiara began singing Ephesians Chapter 6 in Hebrew. Deshaun unleashed flame scripture that hovered above the alleyway like a radiant banner. David knelt, palms on the pavement, channeling stability through prayer. A ring of living scripture formed, a luminous barricade encircling the teens and BJ. Pastor Elijah shouted, "Hold this line no matter what emerges." Just then, the demonling's full head burst through the breach, screeching, teeth like broken glass. Malphas roared in triumph. Too late. The final gambit. Malphas slammed his claws into the pavement, gouging lines of smoke through the concrete. "You truly believe," he thundered, "that a watcher, 6 frightened young'uns, and a decrepit pastor can stop a legion birth?" His wings expanded, blackening the alley with shadow. He poured power into the breach. The portal bulged like overfilled glass. The demonling forced one leg through. Elijah stumbled under the spiritual pressure. Jasmine's breath choked from the intensity. BJ wavered, light flickering. Malphas hissed at him, "Your penlight flickers, watcher. Your authority is old. Your strength is failing." BJ's hand shook. His knees buckled. Malphas leaned closer. "You have no more pages to turn." The impossible turn. The breach roared, expanding past BJ's circle, past Elijah's standard, past the squad's stance. The demonling's torso lunged halfway out. Elijah screamed, "We're losing it." Jasmine almost collapses. Marcus's shield shattered into sparks. David was thrown backward into a dumpster. All hope snapped, until Kiara's voice whispered, "Wait. Listen." Everyone froze. Faintly, barely audible beneath the roar, something stirred inside the breach. Not a demon. Not fire. A song. Soft. Melodic. Ancient. Holy. Malphas recoiled like he'd been burned. "No. No. No." BJ looked up, stunned. "He's here, wait for it." The Bible squad leaned in. The breach started shrinking. From the inside. The demonling shrieked as its body began dissolving. Malphas roared, wings flailing. "Who is interfering?" He thrust his claw into the collapsing breach, and a brilliant hand of pure light slapped it away. Pastor Elijah whispered, "Is that an angel?" BJ trembled. "Yes, I don't know which one. I only know, holy help has arrived." The breach sealed halfway. The demonling dissolved entirely. Malphas screamed in primordial fury. And the alley fell silent except for the wind. BJ exhaled, voice shaking. "Everyone, listen. Chapter 25 is going to be the hardest thing we've ever written."